Hello and welcome back to World 360. What does the vandalism of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's statue in Bangladesh indicate? What's behind riots in the UK which are causing countries like India to issue travel advisories? Is a global stock market rout triggering fears of a recession in the US? We answer this and more in today's episode. First up, Bangladesh, where street violence continues and the law and order situation remains dire. Attacks on minorities have taken place, especially Hindu businesses and temples. Former Foreign Minister Hassan Mahmood was also arrested while attempting to flee the country. There's also been a rejig in the military in attempts by the army to distance itself from Sheikh Hasina's party, the Awami League. But one particular video and image from Dhaka made the headlines like no other. This was the vandalism of a statue of the founding father of Bangladesh, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. In various videos, angry protesters can be seen hitting the statue with an axe. Others urinated on the head of the statue. Many viewed this as a desecration of the man who helped lead the nation after its independence. He was the first Prime Minister of Bangladesh and the founder of the Awami League. His assassination in 1975 shook the newly independent nation. His daughter, Sheikh Hasina, was a child of the revolution and went on to become the longest-serving Prime Minister of Bangladesh until, of course, she resigned and fled her country earlier this week. So what does the desecration of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's statue mean, even if it was done by radicals and mobs? It indicates the public's deep-seated resentment of Sheikh Hasina, especially her handling of the protests. And anyone associated with the Awami League is now seen as soft targets. And there is definitely an attempt now to dismantle Sheikh Hasina's legacy and her father's. This is the public anger that pushed Hasina out of power, and attacking statues of her father suggests attempts to erase her and her family from the country's history. It is ironic, given Sheikh Hasina was a child of revolution and even served as her father's liaison when he was jailed during the liberation movement. But after being a strong advocate for democracy, she finds herself accused of dismantling democracy in her own country and sidelining the opposition in the last 3 elections. What does this mean for Bangladesh's future? Perhaps one that erases Sheikh Hasina's legacy and those associated with the Awami League. But in the past, we have seen many regime changes in Bangladesh. At some point after the interim government is formed now, elections will have to be held in Bangladesh. And from the looks of it, the Awami League may not have an upper hand. For our second topic, we're looking at riots that are raging in the UK for nearly a week now. The protests by far-right groups are against immigrants, and the protests turned violent and in fact turned into riots with vandalism of mosques, looting of shops and assaults on non-white people. This is the biggest challenge for the new Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who is just 1 month on the job. He has vowed to crack down on the individuals involved and bringing charges against them as quickly as possible. At least 400 people have been arrested so far in the riots. This is being viewed as the most violent unrest and disorder seen in the UK in years. It began last Monday after 3 girls were stabbed to death at a dance class in Liverpool. 2 adults and 8 children were also injured. The attacker was a 17-year-old who was born to Rwandan parents, though social media was rife with misinformation claiming he was an asylum seeker. This in turn is believed to have fueled anger by far-right groups. This week, India became the latest country to issue an advisory for citizens travelling to the UK. Nigeria, Malaysia, Australia, Indonesia and the UAE have also issued warnings to citizens in or travelling to the UK. Australia had told travellers to avoid areas where protests are occurring due to the potential for disruption and violence, as it urged people to monitor the media for information and updates. Riots and disorders spread across at least 15 towns and cities in the UK. There were also attempts to break into a hotel where asylum seekers were lodged. Keir Starmer referred to the attack on the hotel as far-right thuggery. The situation in the UK has reminded many of the 2011 riots, which engulfed London before spreading to other cities and were considered the worst week of public disorder to hit Britain for 200 years. At the time, Keir Starmer served as the Director of Public Prosecutions. He had kept the courts open for 24 hours a day to process offenders back in 2011. The 2011 riots lasted 4 days. It saw the mass deployment of police and deaths of 5 people. The protest began in London following the killing of Mark Dugan, a local black man who was shot dead by police. For our last topic, we're looking at a global stock market rout that has triggered fears of a recession in the US. Last Friday, stock markets saw their biggest single-day fall in the US since 1987. Japan's Nikkei 225 index also plummeted at one point by 13.4%. That's 1-3. This large fall continued on Monday. The volatility index in India also surged 50% on Monday, reminiscent of 2015 levels. A higher volatility indicates greater investor apprehension and market instability. So all of these were seen as bad omens. A report by Forbes indicates that the magnitude of this stock decline reflects more of a crisis than a routine correction by markets. The prevailing view is that the weak job growth in the US may be indicating a recession is near, which some believe could be a bit worse than mild, says the report. For this, we need to look at the relation between unemployment and recession. By this, I mean the SAM rule. This is a concept coined by Claudia Sahm, a former Federal Reserve and White House economist. The rule says that a recession has started when the 3-month moving average of the US unemployment rate is 0.5 percentage points or more above its lowest during the previous 12 months. The global stock market rout happened on Friday, which is the same day that the July 2024 US jobs report came out. The jobs report was weaker than expected. It showed signs that the labor market is cooling down. US job creation had slowed to 114,000 in July. The unemployment rate also rose to 4.25%, up 90 basis points from a low in April 2023. This means that a September rate cut from the US Fed might be in the offing. And of course, we know how decisions made by the US Fed has ripple effects on the global economy. Thanks for watching. This is Pia Krishnankutty for ThePrint.